Hi everyone! So today I'm going to be making for you ruby red grapefruit mulled wine. That's quite a mouthful, but it is really tasty. It's perfect for the holidays. It's a spiced wine that's got some fruity flavor to it, a little bit of added sugar for sweetness, and it's perfect for sipping around a fire with friends. So today the simple ingredients are, and I'll just run them through, is to have a wine that's a little bit on the heavier side. So I am going to be using a Malbec today, but you can also use a Cabernet Sauvignon, or you could use a Shiraz because it's got a little bit of peppery notes if you like that. So certainly those are good choices, but you're looking for a heavier, more full-bodied red for sure. Next, you're going to add a little bit of Cointreau or any other orange liqueur that you prefer. This is the one that I have in my kitchen, and this is the one that I use most often. You're going to have a half a cup of brown sugar that has been, when you measure brown sugar, it's a little different than regular sugar. You're actually supposed to press it into the cup. Because brown sugar has molasses in it, the granules are a little bit bigger and they're a little stickier. So if you don't measure it by pressing it in and making sure that it's packed, is what they call it, then you're not going to get an accurate measurement. Next, I have 3 seeds of cardamon. So it's not that much, but what you want to do is just use the flat edge of a blade of your chopping knife and just smash it down just so that they crack open. That way the flavors can disperse throughout the mulled wine. 1 stick of cinnamon, and then I have this handy tool that I use. Again, I'm not one for tools usually, but this one's helpful. It is a little grater that you put on your hand, and then you can just grate the fresh nutmeg. So this way you're protecting your fingers. You don't need to pull out that huge grater, because when you're grating things in small measurements like this, it's really hard to use that big grater and get much from it, because it just kind of goes everywhere. So this is a really easy way to do it. If you don't have fresh nutmeg and you don't have a grater on hand, don't worry. You can still just use the regular nutmeg that you get. As long as it's ground, you can get it from a bulk barn store or a bulk store easily. So you can use that. It's just that the fresher is always better, right? So that's what I prefer to use. And then there's just a little bit of water to thin it out so that you have more. So if you're looking for, if you're having a big guest party, the other way that you can do this, I'm going to be doing mine in a pot today, but another way that you can do it is in a crock pot. So you could put all the same ingredients, and depending on the size of your crock pot and depending on how many guests you're having, you might want to double the recipe. In fact, in a crock pot, I would recommend doubling the recipe. And again, it follows the same. So put it on high. It won't heat as well or as fast as a pot, so put it on high for about 2 hours and let it simmer. So if you're a skier or if you're out tobogganing with your kids, you can put it on before you leave, come back and have a nice glass to enjoy when you come home. So let's start. So I'm going to turn my stove on to medium high. We're going to try and bring this to a boil, maybe just before a boil. We don't want to boil it off. That way the alcohol will boil off, and we all know we want a little bit of that left. So, so just pour your bottle. Now, I have better bottles of wine in my wine fridge. I don't recommend, or I don't think you need to have the best bottle of wine or your most expensive. In fact, this is a $13 bottle of Malbec. Because you're adding sugar and other flavorings to it, you're not going to get the nuances of a very expensive bottle of wine, so don't waste your money. You just want a nice full-bodied wine so that it can hold its own once you've added all the ingredients. So we're going to do that. I'm going to add the brown sugar. I've already pre-measured this, so I know this is 1 or half a teaspoon of the ground nutmeg. Put that in there. You're just going to throw the cardamom seeds. Now you're going to scoop these out when the wine's done. Okay. Same with the cinnamon stick. The other ingredient I forgot to mention, the most important, is the ruby red grapefruit, right? So half of a large ruby red grapefruit. So what I've done is I've cut them into 3 rounds, and I'm just going to place them on top. And the reason I did that is so that all the juices sort of can flow throughout the wine and absorb the grapefruit-like flavor. So I'm going to add 2 cups of water to this. And I believe it is 2 tablespoons of Cointreau. Oh, it's a sugary liqueur, so it tends to stick in my bottle. And I gotta get a tablespoon, so hold on. Probably should have planned that before. Anyway, so 2 tablespoons of this. So this is just adding more of a citrus flavor to it. So now I'm just gonna stir this up. Don't worry about the floaty pieces of nutmeg that are in there. They will dissipate as they soften. And if you do find that everything is a little bit, you know, for example, if your grapefruit falls apart and you find that there's a lot of pulp in there, then when you're done with this, you just want to run it through a sieve into another clean bowl or punch bowl or pot. Pulp doesn't bother me, but my husband gets a little upset about it. So, well, there's that, right? Anyway, so we're going to bring this to just before a boil, just when it starts to kind of bubble and brew. And then we're going to turn it down to medium low or low, just so it's simmering, little tiny bubbles at this point. And we're just going to let it simmer for about a half an hour. And that's it, folks. So serve it in a warm glass that's obviously different than a wine glass. You're going to serve it more in like a coffee mug. I'll show you what I use. When you're short, you have to climb on the countertop. So this is the kind of glass that I use. It's pretty, it's good for hot chocolate as well, but you want something that's a coffee mug or something that'll hold heat well. You don't want to put it in a wine glass because then it's going to crack on you and you're going to get hurt. So don't do that, unless of course you prefer to have it served over ice and you want to chill it. I would chill it ahead of time and then use the wine glass if you prefer it that way. But it's supposed to be a hot drink, so use a hot or warm glass. So that's it for the Ruby Red Grapefruit Mulled Wine. God, I gotta find a better name. But I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please leave a comment or a 5-star below on my recipe card. I'd really appreciate it and love to see your pictures. Okay, thanks.